What is going on, guys? Mobile Carrier News here, and this video is a tad bit late, but I'm going to be talking about Verizon's Q2 earnings. Now this video is going to be a little bit longer. The link will be in the description. Let's scroll down and check it out. Notable year-over-year improvements in Verizon's consumer postpaid phone gross additions, 8 consecutive quarter that Verizon Business reported more than 125,000 postpaid phone net additions. So Verizon's business model on their Verizon Business is growing every day, every quarter, year after year at an incredible fast pace, guys. AT&T is growing the business, and they want to keep it that way. They want to keep growing more subs. Business-wise, yes. Consumer-wise, not really. I mean, they still want to keep the same old customers. Verizon, this is how their new business model works. I believe they talked about this in either Q1 or Q2 that they're basically done growing subscribers. I think they're content with this. I don't know what the reason could be. I always theorize that if they have more subscribers than what they should have, they might have to spend more on capex, and they might have to get more into debt. Keep in mind they're in a lot of debt right now, but they can easily pay it off if their ROI works very well. But business model, they're very satisfied. I think they should be fine on the business side. Consumer side, they can, improve. But there's some interesting news to that one. Let me scroll down here. Q2 2023 highlights. Consolidated. 1.1 in EPS compared to 1.24 in second quarter 2022 a year ago, so that's really good. Adjusted EPS excluding special items of $1.21 compared to $1.31 in second quarter Q 2022. Total operating revenue of $32.6 billion, a decrease in 30.5% from second quarter 2022, so that's actually really good on the decrease. First half 2023 cash flow from operations of $18.0 billion, an increase from $17.87 billion in first half of 2022, guys. So they're growing at an excruciating rate. They're growing fantastically, not fast, not on a quick pace, but on percentage wise, they're growing slowly every year. They're just expanding. They're expanding not only the network, guys, but they're expanding their cash flow, their operations, their revenue, and then compare the profit. And then we have the net income of $4.8 billion, a decrease of 10.3% from second quarter 22, and consolidated adjustment EBITDA, or as I believe people say now, EBITDA. But I think I'm saying that right now, of $12.0 billion, up to 0.8% year over year. So they're doing pretty good for themselves for now. If they can keep up the business model and maybe do a little bit modifications on the consumer group, I don't know if the My Plan is I'm not saying My Plan is bad, but the My Plan could use some work. Because there's some interesting story to that one too. I'll get in a moment. But, so far they're doing pretty good on the business side. Everything else is totally fine. The network is good. It's not there, but it's good. Verizon still has the largest nationwide of LTE, not 5G. Keep in mind, LTE nationwide network. Okay, now we're going to talk about the total broadband. Total broadband net additions of 418,000, reflecting a strong demand for fixed wireless access and Fios products, which is true. Verizon is not really focused on expanding the fixed wireless access and Fios nationwide. I thought a couple of years back. I think Fios came out a while ago. It came out a long time now. I thought that fixed wireless access and Fios would go nationwide, but that was never Verizon's goal. They want to expand it in certain areas. I think either on the East Coast, East Coast, some West Coast, but not nationwide. I thought they were going to do that. They weren't really. But even though their Fios and fixed wireless access is not nationwide, it is expanding dramatically at a good rapid pace. This result included 384,000 fixed wireless net additions, which is insane. On the business side, an increase from 56,000 fixed wireless net additions in Q2. So they increased incredible by over 1,000 new fixed wireless access subscribers. So that's really good for Verizon, guys. This is the third consecutive quarter that Verizon reported more than 4,000 broadband additions. Verizon now has nearly 2.3 million subscribers in its fixed wireless access service. So their fixed wireless access service is growing, even though they're not growing it nationwide, making it available everywhere. They're growing it subscriber wise. So this is really good for Verizon and also their Fios home internet. 54,000 Fios internet net additions, an increase from 36,000 Fios net addition internet net additions in second quarter 2022. So they are growing it like crazy. Will they be expanding the fixed wireless access and the Fios internet? I honestly don't really have an answer for that. They are, from what I'm hearing, they are still growing it, but they're not going to go crazy on it because they're more focused on 5G, which I respect. That's a good strategy to go to, but they're still growing. I don't know by how much more they're going to. If I can get more news and updates, I will let you guys know, of course, but they're growing. They're growing at a good pace. Now, for the total wireless, this is how much they're growing on subscriber-wise on this one. Total wireless service revenue of $19.1 billion, a 3.8% increase year over year. 3.8 increase, that is still not bad. It's better than getting a decrease. It's better than getting nothing and just losing a lot of subs. That's really good for them on their case. Post paid phone net additions of 8,000, and retail post net additions of 62,000. Total wireless postpaid phone gross additions increased 2% interest 2% year over year, primarily driven by a 6.9% year over year growth in consumer postpaid phone gross additions. Total retail postpaid churn of 1.7%, and a retail postpaid phone churn of 0.83%. So Verizon is not doing bad, but they're not doing terrible, but they're not doing good at the same time. It's a weird combo Verizon's going through. It's honestly a weird phase, in my opinion, on this one. But let's focus on the one right here. Postpaid phone net additions of 8,000. That's basically, they gained 8,000 new subscribers. Now, technically, from what I've done research on, that's basically how much T-Mobile gets in a day. Sometimes they get more, maybe 10K subs. Maybe it's not more than a day. Maybe it's like in 4 days afterward. But these 8,000 new subs have to be from the new My Plan. I mean, that's pretty much the only thing. Because I was thinking maybe it was from the Get More plan, the old plans. But then I was thinking those plans are basically gone. They're non-existent. It has to be from the new plans. So 8,000 new subs. That's for people going on the My Plan. 8,000 is, it's a huge number. It's not a lot for Verizon, but it's very interesting and impressive that Verizon gets something like that, because usually they don't grow that many subs. And this day nowadays, it's like kind of rare, but in a good way. Like sometimes might get like 2,000, 3,000, but now 8,000. There's something, either it's the reps doing a really good marketing strategy, like upselling hard. I don't know if it's the marketing on Verizon's end. Verizon has good marketing. Don't get me wrong on that one, but it's something that Verizon did that got them, 8,000. It's incredible. To me, it's like very interesting how that worked. And if they're from the My Plan, which I'm pretty sure clearly they are from the new My Plans, then that's very good for Verizon. It's a step up. It's going somewhere, but it still needs work, if that makes sense. But that's really good for them. 8,000 new subs from the new plans. That's interesting. Let's go down here. It says Verizon Communications, NASDAQ, their ticker symbol VZ, reported second Q earnings results, highlighted by wireless service revenue growth, increased cash flow for operations, and strong momentum heading into the second half of the year. So the second quarter, they're doing pretty good. It says here, we showed progress in our key priorities of growing wireless service revenue, delivering healthy consolidated adjusted EBITDA, and increasing free cash flow. CEO of Verizon, Hans Vestager. So they're increasing cash flow. So that's really good that's really good on their end. They're increasing their cash flow. The subs not really growing there. Like they've grown over that phase. They're now focused on keeping the same subs, growing the 5G, growing the network, expanding the network, fiber, optic, everything. But the cash flow, they're doing really good on that. We're looking forward to extending our network leadership in the second half of the year by continuing our rapid C-band deployment as we are laser focused on providing value to our customers. He's talking about the current customers, guys. Keep in mind, when he says our valued customers, he's talking about current customers, not the new customers. He could care less about the 8,000 new subs. 8,000 new subs, he just crumbles it up like a piece of paper and throws it in the trash, guys. I'm just saying how it is. I'm not hating, not liking. I'm literally giving my 2 cents. That's what I do in the page, guys. I literally say what is literally like I can almost, like, we know how Verizon works, guys. I can pretty much read Hans Vesper like a book at this point. I could write a whole book about him and just read him off the top of my head, and I know what's going on even before opening the book. It's honestly really weird and funny at the same time. Yeah, that's what he's basically saying. He wants to keep the current subscribers happy, growing the network. He doesn't want like the network being sluggish, the network being congested, and then people going to AT&T and he's losing subs, which, let's be honest, that's been happening for quite a while now, but you guys know what I'm talking about. The steps that have been taken to improve our operational performance are working, and we're confident that we'll achieve our financial target for the full year. So he's talking about the end of 2023 Q4. So that should be an interesting report on that one. Very interesting to cover that with you guys. For second quarter 2023, Verizon reported EPS of 1.1 compared to 1.24. Okay, so this is basically from a year ago. And pretty much, I've already talked about this, comparing, the EPS, and it's basically compared to last quarter. And let's see, second quarter 2023 earnings reflected a pre-tax loss of special items approximating $598 million, which, it's pretty much expected of that. This included a pre-tax severance charge of $237 million, the impacts of amortization of intangible assets related to TracFone and other acquisitions of 2.6 million, and a pre-tax asset rationalization charge of 155 million related to certain real estate and non-strategic assets that the company has detected the issues of our part of transportation. So what they're basically saying here is like, look, this was a loss. This was a crappy loss too. This also lost. They're basically saying what they won and what they lost. And it makes sense. A company, they're never really 100%. It's always like an up and down roller coaster. Verizon is an interesting roller coaster. They're basically doing a loop-de-loop at this point. But yeah, that's basically what Verizon is doing at this point. And let me just keep scrolling down here. Going to go to consolidated result. The consolidated result, let's say total consolidated operating revenue in second quarter 2023 of $32.6 billion, a decrease of 3.5% from second quarter 2022. This decrease was primarily due to reduced wireless equipment revenue and lower postpaid phone upgrade activity. So what's basically saying is people were not upgrading their devices equipment wise, whether it be a cell phone, the latest flip phone that literally has 5G. People were doing less upgrades because everything's so expensive now, and Verizon is priced up. There's just that. And they saw a decrease in revenue from that, and they just couldn't do anything about it. But, it wasn't a huge loss. They decided, Verizon, they just take the loss as it is, and they just move forward. They basically just do that. And, they could learn from this if they could do better promotion deals. I'm not sure if Verizon has new strategies for 24. I'll just have to wait and see. But now let's go to total wireless revenue. Total wireless service revenue in second quarter 2023 increased 3.8% year over year, so that's really good on that. This increase was driven primarily to pricing actions implemented in recent quarters. The largest accumulation of administrative and teleco recovery fees from other revenue into wireless service revenue, and growing contribution from fixed wireless offerings. So they're basically saying they saw an increase of fixed wireless access and other offers that they were doing, which is good. A 3.8% or year over year on total wireless access is really good. It's better than taking a loss. Verizon is honestly getting more strategic, and they're doing better as the year goes on. Now, they can't we know they can't repeat the same process over and over. They are doing it for the postpaid, But for the fixed wireless access, they know how to get things done on that, especially and also for the business. They want to increase that the most as they can. Net income of 4.8 billion, a decrease of 10.3% compared to second quarter 2022, and consolidated adjusted EBITDA of 12.2 billion, increase of 0.8%. Basically the same thing I talked about in the last set. They're seeing a decrease and an increase on certain projects, services, and maybe some accessories there when you go to the resale store. But they're saying some up and downs. They're basically saying this is what happened, this is what we lost, this is what we gained. Verizon is learning, has learned this from experience. They've been doing it for years, and so on and so forth. First half 2023 cash flow from operations totaled 18.0 billion, increase from 17.7 billion in first half 2022. Like I said, the increase has come up on that for the cash flow. More cash flow, the better. The better they can use the cash flow to upgrade equipment, network, maybe buy some new accessories that can get more sales in the retail, more cash flow for the newest phones and everything. So this increase continued to be related to lower receivables and lower inventory levels tiered to fewer upgrades, which were offset by higher cash income, taxes, and interest expenses. So basically, Verizon says we got an increase of cash flow, not because of the losses we made from the inventory, not from the sales, but because of the taxes and all the interest included. So basically, the taxes helped them generate more money, which is kind of strange. I mean, every company, I think, does this. The taxes really make you more money as it goes. But Verizon got a positive on the cash flow, which is good to see. Verizon needs more cash flow when upgrading everything. Like I said, they need that. A negative cash flow would highly impact them. I don't know if that would lead to more increased prices. Verizon is very expensive, and they've always been the premium carrier, so they can't really go cheaper or anything like that. So now the capital expenditure in first half of 2023 was $10.1 billion. Pretty good on that one. The company ended first half 2023 with free cash flow of $8.0 billion, an increase from $7.2 billion the first half of 2022. So they've increased cash flow and their capital expenditure, so that's pretty good. Not too bad for Verizon on that one. Hopefully they can grow it more in Q3. But, I mean, with everything going on at the expensive-wise, Verizon being the premium carrier, can they keep that up? I honestly don't know. I don't want to make assumptions before the quarter happens because that's literally 3 months away. So we'll have to see. Surprisingly, Verizon's good at keeping the free cash flow up. I think that's mostly because of the business side and maybe TracFone, but I'm mostly putting it to the fixed wireless access, the FiOS, and also the business of Verizon, like the business plans, all that. I think that's what's holding them, which is really good. Verizon knows how to do that very well. Verizon's unsecured debt at the end of the second quarter 2023 decreased by 662 million. So that's compared to sequentially to 131.4 billion. So that's something Verizon has to watch out for on their debt. Decrease is, it's good to be less in debt, so they should be good. It's better for Verizon to be as little debt as possible, but honestly, to be any carrier, to be as little debt as possible, and not keep going up. Yeah, you're using the debt to expand the network, but you got to pay it back. I'm pretty sure that debt is government or other funds that are helping, and Verizon needs to pay back or keep it low. The best I can see Verizon doing is keeping that is maybe $5 billion, but maybe I'm stretching it. I don't think any company has $5 billion just in debt to easily wipe it off the floor or the map with that. The company's net unsecured debt balance improved significantly by $3.2 billion to $126.6 billion at the end of the second quarter 2023. Verizon's ratio of unsecured debt and net income LTM was approximately 6.1 times, and its net unsecured debt to adjusted EBITDA ratio was approximately 2.6 times. So the debt, like I said, they're decreasing it. I don't know if Verizon wants to grow it anymore because they are investing $40 to $50 billion a year, or I believe it's $6 billion they start and then they increase it up. But like I said, the lower the less of debt, the better it is for Verizon as a company. Not only because they have the biggest fiber optic in the country, but they don't want to be
having all this money and not focusing on the network. The last thing they want is to be more in debt. So the less debt, the better. The more they paid off. That's why their ROI needs to increase. Their free cash flow. So half of it pays off the debt and half goes to the 5G network. Let's go to the Verizon consumer results. Total Verizon consumer revenue was $24.6 billion, a decrease of 4.1% year over year. Growth in service and other revenue was offset by wireless equipment revenue declines. Wireless service revenues increases 3.5% year over year. This increase was driven by growth in retail post average revenue per account or ARPA, and that's actually really good that it increased by 3.5. Not as high as I think it was years ago, but Verizon is doing something good. Growing the retail. Yes, the retail needs to change, needs to improve. Ever since I think I heard 2017 or 18, after the changes they made, I don't know if it was because Hans Vestberg changed everything when he became CEO, or before that, but Verizon just took. Verizon has a lot to learn from the changes they made from 2017. Consumer wireless retail post-paid churn was 0.95% in second quarter 2023, and wireless retail post-paid phone churn was 0.76%. So that's very interesting on their they're doing on that. The churn is it's what they put, but Verizon is working on that. In the second quarter of 2023, consumer report 136,000 wireless retail postpaid phone net losses. So that is a huge loss on that one. Like I said, if Verizon can strategize or strategically change their output into better input, that would be better for Verizon. But Verizon unfortunately is still losing subs by the day. People are upset with the network. I mean, Verizon is working, but it's going to take them some time. So Verizon can't really do anything about it if they lose the subs because of, just bad 5G, or their LTE has gotten so congested they have to upgrade it and then upgrade to 5G. So, Verizon has a lot of work to do. I don't know if they can regain the customers because they don't care about that anymore. They have a lot, but if they keep losing more than normal, that's going to be a problem. They'll have to regain some back. Like the last thing they want, they're not worried about T-Mobile they're not worried about T-Mobile actually having more subs than them. The worst that could happen to Verizon, in desperate attempt to get customers back, is to lower prices again, and just having less and less, consumers, and that's the last thing Verizon wants. Consumer report 3 or 4,000 wireless retail postpaid net loss in second quarter 2023. Like I said, that consumer net loss is hitting them hardcore on this, and I don't know what they could do. But the positive to this is consumer report 251,000 fixed wireless net adds and 51,000 files and internet net additions in second quarter 2023. Consumer wireless revenue was $2.9 billion in second quarter 2023, a decrease from 0.3 per year over year. So their decrease didn't go that bad. Verizon still has a lot of work to do with all this, from the increase to the decrease. Verizon is fluctuating at a rapid pace. It's like they're literally losing and they're gaining. It's a weird time to be, for a Verizon, not only investor, but also just like a hot top executive on what Verizon is doing and all that stuff. In the second quarter 2023, consumer operating income was $7.3 billion, an increase from 2.5% year over year. The segment operating income margins was 29.8%, an increase from 27.9%. So almost a 10% increase on that, which is really good on them. Segment EBITDA in second quarter 2023 was $10.6 billion, an increase of 2.1% year over year. The improvement can be attributed to service revenue growth and lower upgrade volume. So that's actually very interesting to me, how they improved on the consumer operating income side, from just having from their service growing to having low upgrade volume. So the network is upgrading at a rapid pace, but the upgrades to like phones or to switch from a AT&T to Verizon is slowing down. So that's actually very interesting to what Verizon can learn from that to see what they can do. And so basically we're almost on to the last poll with the last results on this. Basically, if you guys want to pause the video, basically read all this to you guys. So, I don't continue on this. I read a lot on the information there. But Verizon is doing just interesting on the business side. They're improving. They're doing good. I can see Verizon keeping that up to a high momentum. And then Q1 2024, they're just going to keep growing the business. And then I think eventually, if Verizon grows the business long enough, I think they have to start growing the consumer side at least once or more, not more or twice. I think Verizon could have potential there, but I don't know how Verizon thinks. I don't know how the executives, board directors are always changing their minds. They're all working on the 5G, on improving. So Verizon, it's anyone's game on Verizon. They could do anything they want. If they have better, you know, plans, they could definitely do that. And we're on to the last and final one right over here, which is, no, I just passed it, my bad. Outlook and guidance. The company does not provide a reconciliation for any of the following adjustments. Okay, that's not the one I want to read, my bad. For Verizon, for 2023, Verizon continues to expect following: total wireless service revenue growth 2.5% to 4.5%. Not a lot, but it's something. Adjusted EBITDA of $47.0 billion to $48.5 billion. A small increase. I would say that's a 1.5% on that. Not too bad. Adjusted EPS of $4.55 to $4.85. Not too bad at all. Adjusted effective income tax rate in the range of 22.5% to 24%, so that's actually really good. And capital spending in the range of $18.25 billion to $19.25 billion. So that's basically the wrap up of this video. Verizon is growing on the cash flow, the service, the network, the getting customers to go to the network, rely on what they need. As I'm guessing by mid 2024, early 2025, everyone should be satisfied with Verizon's network, not only with the 5G standalone, the I don't know about the marketing. That's going to be a tricky one, saying that in mid 24, early 25, but with Verizon investing $50 billion on top of extra cash flow for Q2 and for all the Qs in general, I think they're going to grow massive cash flow. That will give them more time to invest in the 5G network. I'd be kind of shocked if Verizon increased CapEx. I'd be very shocked about that, but I think they're fine with $50 billion in the past 5 years. I think this should be fine. But let me know what you guys think about this. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you.